Well, welcome back. We've got this great Hilux that belongs to the Cape Town Terrain Tamer branch, and Marinus, the branch manager, is here with me. I guess this is your vehicle you're driving around.
Yeah, we use it.
You're sort of sharing between everyone during the day.
But I drive my family around with it and on weekends and so on. So no.
So you've got to use the vehicle, and I think that's really important. You know, it's you're putting products on the vehicle, you're using them, you're testing them. People can come and talk to you about the product, take a drive in the vehicle if they need to, just to get a feel for it.
Yeah.
So it really is about endorsing the products. Now, the suspensions are very, in my mind, one of the most critical components of any vehicle that you set up, especially going off-road on expedition, and even more so when you add a lot of weight to the vehicle.
Yeah.
So the other thing when you're going to add weight to the vehicle is you've got to stop that vehicle. And of course, braking systems designed for the weight that the vehicle carries, and of course you add weight, braking systems have improved massively. And obviously when they build a vehicle, they're not going to put the most expensive braking systems in, because vehicles are built to a budget so they can make them marketable, sellable.
Yeah.
But what we do have on the market is we have a lot of companies, and in particular you guys have designed really good rotors. And here we are, we've got the brake rotor in the box packaged and of course fitted onto the vehicle here, and together with a brake pad. So tell us a bit about your rotors and the brake pads.
So these are our drilled and slotted high performance rotors that we have on the vehicle. We had a look at the off-road community and industry, and also the mines, and saw that a real good drilled and slotted brake rotor and pads that match up with them needed to be developed. So we work with some mines in Australia, had a look at their demands. And
it's quite critical to understand why the mines are so valuable as a test bed, because they drive in a lot of slurry.
Yeah.
And of course that slurry eats brake pads, eats rotors, and I think that's where you've had very good value trying to develop your product.
So the mine that we work with, they had to replace their brake pads every 5 days.
Wow.
So you think it's crazy to look at that, but 5 days they had to replace. If it was in 7 days, they had to replace the rotors and the pads. So, and we moved that time interval with our system to 3 months. So
that's
it's
incredible.
Yeah.
And the cost savings enormous.
Yeah. So and the downtime of the vehicles, that's the main thing. Because if the vehicle stands, then you can't make money for you. So,
and what's so unique or different? What did you do differently besides, you've drilled and slotted the discs?
So the metallurgy of the disc, and then also the ceramic pads that we developed, working with that with the rotors. Right. So it's also unidirectional. You can use it left and right, it doesn't matter. And then with the holes and the slots, it cleans out any mud and dust and water and all of that, and then also it vents quite a lot, all the gases that builds up when you're braking. It vents out those gases.
To cool off the discs, it's important, because often when you look at brake discs that are solid and you go and have a look at the coloration of them, the worst case to look at a brake and you'll see that's gone brown or blue. And then of course I've seen brake discs that they've started cracking, and it's scary to think that people drive putting their lives on risk. And also you find the braking systems aren't balanced. There's for a lot of these vehicles, they've got a brake proportionate valve that sits at the back. Not all vehicles, but most of these pickups. And the idea is to design, when you load the back, it equals out the brake pressures. Now it's important that is checked. That you're not doing all the braking on the front. So especially on older vehicles, it's something to look at. But again, you've developed these for the front, and I guess you do the same for the back with the discs.
So we've got a disc brake conversion kit on the back, moving away from the drums to disc brakes in the rear. So, and that also improves your braking capacity by about 36%. So it's a much more efficient braking system than your drum brakes. But we'll look at that a bit later.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, what I think you've done is you've improved all round the braking efficiency. Now, you drove this vehicle before. How did you find the braking after you had the brakes done?
It's a much better feel. I think when you before with the standard brakes, you had to either step on it really hard to make it brake, and then also the way that it feels. A lot of times when you hit the brakes, it binds up quite quite quickly.
So it's a sharp. I've always found when we do these, when we fit the kits, it sharpens up the brakes, so you have a better feel for the car's going to stop. It's like when you're coming close to someone and you start standing on the brake and you realize the car's going a bit faster and you're getting closer and you're standing harder and harder. I found that it sharpens the brakes up, so you actually have a better feel for how quickly you're going to stop before you reach a point. So really good. So added to this now, to improve the sort of handling of the vehicle, you know, you guys have designed a suspension which has been fitted. So we've got coils and we've got shock absorbers here. We've got the
remote
reservoir, should I say. And then I know we've changed tie rod ends, which is also important. So looking at the suspension, what's often overlooked are ball joints, top and bottom, especially in older cars. And it's more so on the front, independent front suspension. You know, the ball joints do wear, the CV joints wear, the bushes wear. So it's, you know, when you're coming to overhaul a front suspension on an independent suspension, it's really important to make sure you've checked all those components or replaced them, especially ball joints, because a ball joint coming out, and I can speak from experience, if you lose the bottom ball joint, it can be a nasty accident. So let's go through what you've done here and what's been done.
So we've got a heavy duty upper control arm. So as soon as you start lifting the vehicle with the independent front suspension, then you struggle with your caster and your camber. So it's just the way that your wheels lie in the vehicle. So you get your vehicle like that. So we adjust the caster and the camber with the upper control arm.
So it is adjustable. You can set it up, which is quite important.
It's got a bigger offset than the standard one. So because you lifted your vehicle now, because of all the radiuses of the arms and so on, your wheel is not upright anymore. So you need to change that. And then it comes with a heavy duty ball joint that's greasable. So greasable, a lot of people think, okay, but now I can lubricate it. It's actually a cleaning method. You press out the old grease where all the water and the dirt and things are in, and then you fill it with clean grease. So it's actually a cleaning process.
So when you squeeze out, you know, you'll get the grease come out from underneath. And that's where the dirt and the grime gets in there. Of course, the dust gets in, and then it makes like grinding paste. And over years, these boots perish or come off. Then you've really got a problem. It eats it next to no time. Okay.
And then we fitted some of our smart coils. So Terrain Tamer, they varied the wire diameter of the coil. Actually.
The actual coil, the thickness.
The thickness. So it's a truly progressive coil. It's not where they try and put the windings closer together or something like other manufacturers try to make it a progressive coil. So before we manufacture our coils, before it gets rolled, we taper the wire at the end.
So that's going to give you your progression, basically allowing the different progression on the coil itself. Okay. So at the top, it's going to be slightly thinner at the top.
And we can show you some coils where we can see really nicely how the thickness varies. And then also with the remote reservoir.
Well, it's a fully adjustable shock.
Fully adjustable.
I really like this because it's very easy it's clear and easy to see the adjustments. They're numbered. And really nice to be able to look at that and go, you know what, we can adjust this
really quickly. It's
great.
not where you need to get in, it's a special spanner or something, and if once you adjusted it's such a hassle to readjust it when you get onto the tar road or on the gravel that you don't actually want to change it. It's so when you air your tires down, just quickly adjust. I know it needs to go to this setting. It's just the dial that you set and you can go. So.
It's something I must say I really favour on the shocks, because I think what happens a lot of the time is people don't readjust the shock. So you spend a lot of money on really great suspension shock absorber, and then you don't adjust it. Well, then why waste the money? Fit a standard one or a heavy duty one. So if you're going to spend the money on the adjustable ones, make sure you use that function. It really is worthwhile. Makes a big difference.
No, for sure. And then also with the remote reservoir, it's a monotube shock. It assists with getting rid of all the heat and all of that and so on. And it's just a much stronger design than your normal twin tube shocks that you get in. Not that the twin tube is bad, but this is a truly performance shock for guys doing a lot of corrugation and all of that.
So you're getting rid of heat, which is one of the biggest downfalls on any shock absorber, heat build-up, and of course yeah, I guess you've got service kits for these available.
Yeah, so
Great,
it's a
fully
serviceable,
serviceable shock.
fully serviceable shock. So you don't need to, if it starts giving
Problems, get it
problems
serviced.
or whatever, it is a serviceable item, if I can say. Like, it's not going to last you 1,000,000 kilometers.
No,
It's-
but then again, it's about preventative maintenance.
Yeah.
You know, when you're using your vehicle for a lot of trips and that, take a mileage and say, right, now we're going to service the shock absorbers. Now, it depends on, everyone drives their vehicles differently over different terrain, but it's good to do preventative maintenance,
No,
you know,
for
which
sure.
is really good. So
No.
great, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, it looks good.
And then the ball joints are all stronger than OE material and pre-tensioned and all of that. So really good quality ball joints, and the tie rod ends as well. I think a lot of people, they don't look at
Quality.
their steering and the quality and so on. You get a lot of guys and then they say, but and how quickly these actually wear out on
Yes.
all the vehicles especially. Make sure that there is still some tension on it. You actually shouldn't be able to move it by hand.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys say, no, but it's still fine. There's no play in it, and you can just wiggle it. So it needs to be
a
really,
small
really
amount
tight.
of play does a lot of damage. And I think, like anything, it's a critical component. And when you're buying cheap and you don't understand, you know, you're saving money on a part which you think is
Yeah.
new, but when it's not good quality, and that's critical. If that fails, you've got a big problem. with your
Big
hands.
problem, yeah. No, for sure.
Well, you've done it. It's great to see all the products fitted, and I know it's improved the driving. We're
for
going to
sure.
look at the back. We'll do that in our next video.